from Derivan, and today we're going to have a look at the Derivan Acrylic range. Now there's 24 colours in the range, and I'm going to squeeze out each of those in order, and I'm going to separate them into roughly the earth colours, then blues and greens, and then yellows and reds. But before we do that, let's just have a look at the tubes for starters, because with these, the actual paint is on the tube. So you know that when you're selecting the colour, it's going to be this colour inside the tube. So here I've just selected magenta, yellow deep and cobalt blue. Now the other thing to do is have a look down the bottom. See this square? This indicates that this colour is transparent because there's a hollow square. This one is semi-transparent because there's half a square shaded, and this one is opaque. Now what that means is that if we paint this one over the top of one, it's going to be opaque to the colour underneath. If we paint this one, we're going to see through it a little bit, and this one, we're going to see through it quite some more. So let's squeeze these out and see how they go. So there's the full colour range of the Derivan Acrylics. Now I've really laid them out, so we've got our primaries here, red, yellow and blue. So let's talk about those first. So we've got our warm yellow here through to cool yellows. We've got our cool reds here through to warm reds here. And then in our blues on the next row, we've got our cool blues here and our warm blues here. So if we were to have it in one line, the warm would end up back in with the warm. So in addition to those three primaries, we've got some greens here. Now the greens are again cool this way, warm this way. So greens that are cool have more blue in them, and greens that are warm have more red in them. So this phthalo is much cooler than the sap because there's much more red in this pigment than in this pigment. And there's much more blue in this pigment than in this pigment. Now in the earth colours, we've got two oxides, a yellow and a red, two of your siennas, a raw sienna and a burnt sienna, and two umbers, a raw umber and a burnt umber. So we can use all of these then mixed together, obviously, to make an infinite amount of colour. So we then have our black and our white at either end that we can also use in our mixing process. Now in order for any painting to work, the reason why we draw a line is because there's a change in tone. So when we paint, it's because there's a change in tone. So when we finish a piece of paint, the next piece of paint has to be darker or lighter than the one before. And the hardest thing to recognise in painting is the tonal value of this red, this green and this blue, of those three, which is darker and which is lighter. Now we're going to just change this to black and white and it'll become a little more obvious. But in colour, it can sometimes be a bit hard. And there you go. So can you see these are pale grey through to darker? And these have equal greys amongst these here. Similarly, these greys match these greys. But when it's in colour, that's sometimes very hard to tell. If you can narrow that down in your head, you can narrow down any sort of painting. So have a play with them and have a mix and just enjoy. But remember, tone is your key to a good painting. Thanks for watching.